Hey everybody. If I look exhausted, it's because we had comprehensive exams this weekend. So I'm still working on it. Uh, anyway, so the first part of the video, we are supposed to analyze the quote from Ron Edmonds, and my interpretation is that we have to realize as teachers, even though we're trying really hard, we're not giving 100%. And the only way to give them everything we've got is to admit it and to figure out how we can do better. So for me, there's a ton of obstacles that I'm facing on a daily basis, as I'm sure you are too. But personally, it is time and it's resources. So for me, it's like with our curriculum the way it is, I just feel like we're constantly moving and we're moving from one thing to the next, and we're not giving them time to really dig deep into it and to analyze it. And I think that that's affecting all students, not just in our district. I think it's Texas, and I think that it's also the United States. I think that it's everywhere, and we're just pushing these kids, and we're not giving them enough time to let it dig deep, to let it settle. So I would love to do a lot of project-based assessments, but with the pressure that we're under, I feel like we can't do any of that, or we can, and we just can't do enough of it. Like, we can't do very much of it because we have to keep moving on to the next thing, and especially since I'm a STAR grade, we have to already teach them their strategies that they're going to need for STAR and be teaching them how to take apart a question. So we're not really focusing on those concepts like the Alamo and social studies. Like, the social studies has been pushed aside to make way for STAR. So I think that's definitely one of them is time, and then the second one is resources. We could be doing more. That's the thing. Waco ISD, Crestview Elementary, we could be doing more if we had enough resources. And I'm not just talking about technology, even though that is a big part of who I am as a teacher. Technology is a big part of it, but we're also missing workbooks. We're missing textbooks. And how are we able to teach our kids when we don't have those kinds of resources? So, it's just a mixture of everything, and we're not giving 100%. At least I'm not. I can't. So I think that's the hardest thing, is admitting that we're not giving it, and then trying to figure out how do we get there when we have so many things, against us. Okay, so part 2, we're supposed to reflect on a chosen experience and then talk about 2 concepts from chapter 4 and 5 that go with that personal experience. So for me, like, the time that I kind of went beyond learning was my freshman year in college, and I had this professor, and she taught British literature, and I was intrigued with reading and writing, and that's what she made us do. And so she was talking about these 2 poets, as I'm sure you guys know, Robert and Elizabeth Browning. I fell in love with them. That they had this love story, and they showed it through their writing, and at sometimes it was secretive. And anyway, she talked about them like she really knew them. And she made us read a bunch of their works, and she made us feel like it was okay to interpret them in different ways. And she asked these questions that made us dig deep into it. And so it just inspired me so much that I ended up writing about them. I did a research project on them. I even went to, actually in here in Waco, they have the Armstrong Library. And within the library, they have personal items of Elizabeth and Robert Browning, and they have their original works there. So I was able to kind of go beyond my research and actually go and see their works and just explore who they really were as people and connect them to their writing. So anyway, I think that she really helped me go so beyond because of the aspect of interpretation, which is kind of in chapter 4. Like, she just made us feel like it was okay to take things in different ways and learn things in different ways. And just because one person sees it as one meaning doesn't mean that your interpretation was wrong or your perspective wasn't wrong. And so that's my favorite part about literature is, you know, you get to have your own meaning and it's yours. Okay, so then the next part, I really think that with her, she asked these questions that wasn't just, why do you think they wrote this? Or it wasn't like that. It was really deep. And this quote from the book reminded me of her. And it says, even essential sounding questions ended up merely rhetorical. Conversely, questions that sound rather mundane in isolation might become increasingly provocative as the answers become increasingly paradoxical, and the design makes clear that digging deeper is mandatory. So it really made me think about myself, reflecting on myself and the situations that they were being put through and the challenges they faced, and connecting that into my own life. And so I really appreciate that from her. So I know that I'm talking a lot, but I think that that's what we need in education. We need that back. And I think that's been lost, and especially with English language arts in primary. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. Have a great rest of your week.